implosion of Scott's Lions.
Don't even go there because there could be two implosions in one weekend.
There could be.
I wasn't going to say anything.
If Lewis wants to go ahead and lose his airtime, he's got to hammer my Detroit Lions too much.
I do it out of affection.
Oh yeah,
so
okay. I'll understand what affection is, but that's all right.
Because he cares, Scott.
Huh?
He kids because he cares.
Oh, I know. That's why. That's okay. I like to kid around with the kid.
It's all done out of love. But you wanted to say something before you go, David?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to thank y'all for having me on again, and enjoy the rest of the show. And I'll see you on Sunday, Scott.
You bet. Yeah, we love having you on, Dave. You're part of the family now, buddy, so that's okay. So, be well. You and I get to do it live on Sunday, and we're going to do it. In fact, we're going to do it 2 weeks in a row. How's that sound?
Bring double shockwaves.
Oh, yeah. Shockwaves. All right, so we'll talk the stuffing out of us. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, David, and I'll see you on Sunday. All right?
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right,
Be
you're
well.
welcome. Thank
Take care,
you.
Dave.
So how do we compromise your airtime there? You tell me.
Hey, look, I'm not going to argue with a guy who's an insider for an NFL team.
That's okay. Just kidding with you.
It was funny, though. I wrote a note, and I looked at that game. I watched some of that game. It's funny how we talked about last week how they had problems with the run game. Foles kind of forgot that he had guys in the backfield. But now, Leonard Fournette puts up 159 yards of total offense. And I know you like him. I believe he's on your fantasy team. If I'm not
he is.
mistaken.
Yeah.
2
worked out
touchdowns,
all right.
goes for 100 out of the backfield. But you can't get it done in the passing game. Foles completed 70% of his passes nearly, but he didn't throw a passing touchdown. He's 0-3 as a starter. It's just like, and you know what? He's right. Marrone probably has no idea what's going on right now. It's a state of flux there. If he finishes 8-8, personally, if I'm Coughlin, I stick with Marrone. But you know what? At this point, it may be Marrone's decision, just considering.
Well, you go ahead and look at the schedule right now. Doug Marrone is currently looking at a 4-7 mark, and he doesn't have a lot more time to go. So, how do you spell lame duck?
I mean, I'm not gonna.
Doug Marrone. Yeah, that's how you spell
right.
it.
Well, yeah, that's right. He's sitting ready to be shot and killed.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Black Monday, not Black Friday.
Cyber Monday.
Well, is that what they call it? I don't know. But nevertheless, it's a tough situation for Doug, and I'll definitely be getting a first steady dose of it over the course of December while I divert you to other responsibilities.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
It's scary because Winston's had 6 straight games now, I think, where he's gone 300 yards passing. And coming off a performance, the last 2 weeks, we talked about this before the show, 75 points allowed via their defense. So how confident, I know as a fantasy standpoint, you're confident because, you got Jameis Winston starting for you.
Right.
But how confident are you in Jacksonville's defense to rebound against a Bucs team that struggled? You're not.
You know what? How do you spell Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde?
That's
but
right.
Here's the thing you have to understand, okay? Marcel Darius was a big clog in that defense, and he's been injured all year. So, and of course, the defensive losses continue to mount, whether it's injury or departing.
True.
And David makes a good point. Jalen Ramsey, to me, is a head case, and they definitely fleeced the Rams, but that's for another time. But, it's definitely, they certainly had high expectations, bring in what they thought was their quarterback. They had a nice little run with Minshew. But Minshew wouldn't have lost the job, though, had he performed a lot better in London, which precipitated the full situation. So, I don't know. We'll see how this thing plays out. The game against Tampa certainly should provide some insights to what we're probably about to find out. That's for sure.
I think if Foles had came in the way he did in Kansas City, where he was merely a backup, this decision would be a lot easier because I think, were he not here on such a large contract, the decision would be easier given the fact that Minshew, a 6th-round draft pick, had the success he did, winning 4 games, and it may not seem like a lot, but that's all the wins that they have this year. Nick Foles is 0-3 as your starter. Gardner Minshew has won all 4 of your wins this season.
Well, that's true. That's true. But again, we'll talk about hypotheticals at this particular point. We're dollars and cents. I don't care what sport you're in, including your chosen sport. At what point do you play certain guys because of what they're getting paid?
Yeah.
And that happens a lot.
And there's numerous scenarios where that's
right.
a problem.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, you have a coach right now who's a lame duck coach, and we'll find out. The thing is after our FAU responsibilities over the weekend, I work on my NFL
Jacksonville
responsibilities for the month of December, and will there be a playoff game? I don't know. We'll find out, but time will tell.
Yeah, and look, you got for our listeners, you're gonna have a real treat coming up. We got Mel Farr Jr. coming on. He's gonna give us some good tidbits about Turkey Day and the connection between football and family. I think it's a nice little bringing everything together and a little unity thing, because Thanksgiving is a thing all about unity, and I think Mel will do a really good job at touching on that with us when he comes on.
Yeah, he will. I mean, Mel obviously knows the Thanksgiving drill pretty well, and I think anybody associated with football definitely knows that pretty well as well. So, again, so far so good. I think we're moving along at a very nice pace, get a lot of different opinions, and speaking of Mel Farr, we welcome Mel Farr to the Sports Exchange. And Mel, thanks for being on the program, partner. Glad to have you.
Thank you. My pleasure. How you guys doing?
We're doing real well. Okay, so the few things I want to get to while we have 15 minutes to do that. What was it like to see your father play on Thanksgiving game for the Lions?
To be honest with you, I was young when my dad played, and I don't have a recollection of going out there and watching him play on Thanksgiving, but I do remember going to the Silverdome and going and watching many Thanksgiving Day games, and it was always a thrill for me, especially as a young kid, and when Billy Sims came to town,
right,
to go to the Silverdome and watch those guys play growing up, and obviously that was a dream of mine to one day be able to go out there and play as well, whether it be on Thanksgiving Day or on Sunday. But it was always, that was family tradition. We had season tickets out there to the Lions game, and it was always fun to go out there and watch the guys play. And generally, they gave a pretty good effort. I mean, they were tough to beat on Thanksgiving Day, and then go home and feast on the good food.
All right, so tell me, Mel, would you have wanted to play in a Thanksgiving Day game?
Yeah, I think I would have. I mean, obviously, back then there was only 2 games. Now they have 3 games, and Detroit always played and Dallas always played. So that's an opportunity where you know that you're going to be on national TV, and everybody's going to be watching, and even your peers. So it gives you that extra motivation to go out there and perform well, because you know that everybody's going to be watching. So you're going to want to go out there and do your very, very best out there on that day. So, yeah, I would have loved to have had the opportunity to play on a Thanksgiving Day.
Did your dad ever talk to you about how much he enjoyed playing on Thanksgiving Day?
I never even asked him about it. I never even thought to ask him that while he was around. I think he did. I think it was special for him. I think it's special for the guys in Detroit. Right. To be able to go out there, because you see how they perform on Thanksgiving Day. It doesn't matter what type of season they're having.
Very
true. For
true.
whatever reason, they always seem to be able to get up for Thanksgiving Day and go out there and perform very well. So I think it is a big deal. It's a privilege to be able to play on Thanksgiving Day. And it was something that came about a long time ago, where they wanted to play a game on Thanksgiving Day, and the Detroit Lions stepped up and said they were playing Thanksgiving Day. And that's why they'll never lose a thing. No matter how bad of a team they they'll never lose that privilege of being able to play on Thanksgiving Day, because of what they did when the NFL first said that they wanted to have a football game on that day.
Well, let me tell you this, okay? When I was living in Arizona, the Cardinals and the Cowboys were in the same division, and I happened to cover a Cardinals and a Cowboys game, and I actually went up to Jerry Jones in the Cowboys locker room. It was neat talking to Jerry. I actually met Emmitt Smith once, never talked to him, but I asked Jerry, at that time, the Hunts went ahead and wanted to see the Lions lose the game, and Jerry Jones, the type of individual that he is, made sure that the Lions will never, ever lose that game, and he'll make sure that he fought like heck for it, because when nobody wanted it, Detroit and the Cowboys got it. And so what was the compromise? They ended up having the nighttime game where it rotates at night. So, and everybody was happy because of that.
Right.
So, yeah, I agree with you.
They'll never lose that game. So it's all, and it's big for the fans there too. I mean, I think the fans look forward to it as well. it's a tradition now. Been doing it for so long, been doing it all my life. It's just part of the family tradition. You either watch them on TV or you go out to the game, and then you go home and then you feast on good food.
So, did you ever have a chance to go to the parade out in Woodward?
I think I took my kids down there one time when they were young. I'm not a real crowd person, but I went down there one time. It was cold, and that was enough for me.
Mel, so tell me a little bit. And I prefaced your segment by saying this is a lot about unity and bringing. Thanksgiving tends to bring a lot of people together, as does football, and especially when you have the two simultaneously, it's just a recipe for success. What was Thanksgiving like with you guys growing up? How big was football, even though your dad may not have been playing when you were growing up, when you were older, obviously, but what were Thanksgivings like around the Farr house?
These were the best time. This is the best time of the year around the Farr house, with Thanksgiving and then Christmas right around the corner, and then New Year's. We used to always have a big Christmas party for our employees, and it'd be at the Ritz-Carlton. It'd be the thing. It'd be the talk. It would be the talk of the year. Guys would go out and buy tuxes or rent tuxes and do all kind of things for this party that we had. So Thanksgiving was always the thing about Thanksgiving. It's always about family and friends, and the people that we employ, the people that we work with, we viewed them as family. That was our extended family. So we spent a lot of time with our family and our friends, and that's the best part about the best thing about this time of year is that you get to spend a lot of time with family and close friends. And that's what I remember growing up at Thanksgiving time, is having a lot of people come over to the house, or we might go over to Len Barney's house for Thanksgiving, or it might be at Charlie Sanders' house. We go for Thanksgiving and get an opportunity to spend a lot of quality time with them.
Definitely some Lions legends. I'm going to hit you with two more questions while I have a moment, all right? Number one,
Sure.
FIU defeats Miami. You predicted Miami, and I know you were shocked when you heard the result, but then again, everybody in these parts are. What do you think about that prediction now? Although we can't nail you for it because everybody on the planet did not expect the Miami Hurricanes to have their lowest moment in their program's history against their former coach.
Yeah, that's not a good deal to lose.
Okay.
I don't care what type of year you're having at your program, especially a program like Miami. To lose to FIU is just that's just something you can't do. And I think I was talking to my brother about it earlier this year when UCLA lost. I think they lost to San Diego State earlier this year.
Right.
And that's just you just can't do that. That's
Right.
big time program like that. You can't do that. When you're a Power 5 program and you're playing a group of 5, that's not supposed to happen. And I know that doesn't sit well. Obviously, with the head coach, doesn't sit well with the players. I mean, you look across the board; they got better players than FIU. So, obviously, whether they were out coached or the guys were overlooking the game,
Yeah.
I don't know what it could have been, but that's definitely not a good look for a program like Miami, and especially for a first-year head coach like Manny Diaz. That's not good.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. You think? All right, well, you know what? Since it's Thanksgiving, back in the Metro Detroit area, that means Michigan and Ohio State. Since we don't have a show on Thursday night, we're going to have Mel Farr give us a prediction on Michigan and Ohio State.
Ohio State is a complete football team. And the defensive end they had was Chase Young.
Mm-hmm.
They can't stop him. I mean, you can't block him. One thing you got to do is you got to figure out a way to deal with him. Penn State played him well. They played him well, but they just didn't have enough to get over the hump. Michigan's been playing real well as of late. And you look at the loss that they have. I mean, it was to I believe a top 10 team at the time. So, I'm not a Michigan fan, so to speak, but I like Jim Harbaugh.
Right.
And I like John Harbaugh. I'm going to pick. I think that Michigan gets it done this year.
Do you really?
I know that's not. What everyone's thinking, but I think that Michigan will find a way with that defense to keep it close, with their offense, running the football,